Messi. Surging forward with real menace here. Brilliant from Messi. Oh, what a goal that is!
Welcome to the Bala show, and it's a brand new voice introducing you to the show, and that's because in this show, the original hosts have taken a back seat. They become the guests, and I have been invited. If you're wondering who am I, I'm Ras from the Back Pass with Ras show. So I'm the host from that show, and I've been invited to be the host on this show and introducing the guests, the original OGs of the Bola show, Mr. Sivan John, Alwin Loads, and Bala Murali. How are you guys doing?
All good, all
Hey,
good.
Ras,
All,
Mr.
all
Host,
decked up, I see.
just feeling great to be on the show as a guest.
All decked out. Bala, what are you wearing? You're also wearing Argentina. Okay, all right. This World Cup, of course, we're going to speak about World Cup 2022 in Qatar. A World Cup that is fond in your memories and very recent as well. The most recent World Cup before the one that is going to commence in a week's time at the time of recording. So before a ball was kicked, there's a lot of controversy around the World Cup. It was one of the most debated World Cup. It had controversies around the plight, welfare of the migrant workers that built the stadium, as well as the so-called less than liberal laws of the country and the moral police of the country. What were your expectations heading into the World Cup?
Anyhow, I think to start with, I think this controversy, of course, overshadowed the entire World Cup. Even the Canton, I remember I told, don't watch this World Cup because of these controversies. But overall, I think that once the World Cup started, I think everything was diminished.
Yeah,
I
true,
think the
that's
mood was
true.
there. I think, how about that, Sivan? Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely agree. I mean, in case for those of you who don't know that the bidding for the 2022 World Cup also took place at the same time as the 2018 World Cup. So FIFA decided to have a joint bidding for 2 consecutive World Cups at one go back in 2010. The expectation for this 22 was supposedly go to the United States. They were supposed to get the hosting right because everybody felt they had the better plan basically on paper. But surprise, surprise, Qatar got it. And for the next 12 years, let's just put it this way, Qatar had to endure a wave of attacks from all corners of the globe on many, many issues. But I think at the end of the day, when the World Cup started, football fans, I think, have taken a backseat on all the serious issues, enjoyed what was unfolding on the field, the spectacles around the World Cup. It didn't mean the controversy ran away. I mean, every now and then, it gets reminder, pops up here and there. But I think overall, it was still arguably one of the most memorable World Cup ever. And for the mere fact that it was held on a very unusual time, November and December, something which I don't know whether it will happen again. I have to admit, I was among the first to really against it because I didn't quite agree on changing traditions. World Cup has always been a summer event. I was dead set about it, and I didn't quite like the idea of having it in November and December. But now, after experience and going through it, I can see why this World Cup surely arguably one of the best editions.
Yeah, I agree with you. I felt the controversy around the migrant workers, that one really is difficult to say. There could be some truth in it, but difficult to comment being so far away. And of course, I'm sure the Qataris would cover their tracks. The other issues on liberalism of the country and the moral police of the country, I think whichever country you go to, you have to respect whatever their laws are, whatever the regulations are, whatever the culture is of the place. So you should respect. You should not be enforcing your own views into another country and just dismissing it and dissing the country just because their views are different from your own views. So I felt that was unfounded. And of course, during the tournament as well, I remember Germany had some show of dissent against the tournament. What they did something, right? Some demonstration. Okay, they covered their face. Is it? What was that, man? I forgot what's the meaning of it. You see, the thing is, right, I remember tournaments 20, 30 years ago. This is the most recent one, and I got completely, need a recollection of what actually happened.
I'm not sure. Probably something to do with freedom of speech and all that, lah. But one thing's for sure is that as soon as they got knocked out of the World Cup, I think a Qatari football channel with a host of Qatar personalities, football experts, and all that, reminded the Germans, lah, in the same manner as well. So that happened. But
Yeah,
just
but
to add on a bit, having attended the 2023 AFC Asian Cup in Qatar, here's what I can say from my own experience. Booze were available. You just know where to find it. They are not sold openly. You have to understand it's the country's law, but it doesn't mean they're not available. And number two is the safety. I can honestly say it's one of the safest country in the world.
I think I want to add, I think Qatar is a country as well in terms of the geography. It's not a very big country compared to all the, previous hosts of the World Cup and all that, which means that, they are traveling, a lot of time spent traveling from one location to another, another stadium. So I think maybe for the fans, this was something, a different feeling altogether because, Qatar, of course, invested in infra in terms of public transport system. They had a good metro system as well. So that connectivity enabled, moving around quite easily. Well, of course, when it comes to a World Cup, everything is overinflated, right? And Sivan, you mentioned about the boost, because what I understood also was they had a ban in the stadium just a couple of days before the event started.
It's just banned in the stadiums, but
Yeah.
you can find it in bars, like in hotels.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's
So
just basically
the
sold closed
stadium,
doors. Yeah.
so the stadium was more of a family event lah, family peaceful event lah.
And of course, you mentioned, it's a small country, which means that fans could go watch more than one game per day.
Yeah,
I
that's
did
what I heard.
I did experience in that during the Asian Cup. So, in terms of fan friendliness, I don't think any World Cup can match Qatar.
Initially as well, Sivan, you mentioned about the World Cup being played in November, December for obvious reasons, because if it was to be played in the summer months as it's known in Europe, it'd be very hot, it'd be piping hot. The players will be burned literally on the pitch. So that one was a bit odd at the start for me. How do y'all take to that, Alwin and Bala?
Yeah, of course, we were not used to it being towards the end of the year. But I think what made this pretty unique was the players were at their peak in terms of fitness level. They're not there because normally what happens typically the World Cup is after a long season, especially those in the European League and all that. They get burned out now. If you look about this World Cup this year, they need to go through 8 matches, but previously it was 7, right? Because now they have the round of 32, that additional layer that they added into there. But that 7 games after a gruesome, long season, even though you may think it's 7 games, but it's 7 games in a month or so, right? In that very short space of time, and dealing with the summer heat and all that. So of course, all the leagues around the world had to make some schedule changes, to accommodate this World Cup, of course. But yeah, I think player fitness was at their peak, and they had to naturally do it, right, because of the climate and the weather, right? And nobody could be playing at 40 degrees weather out there, man. Yeah.
No, I think basically, for me, it doesn't make any difference because I think it's everything the same. And then the only thing was somewhere in June, some tradition they used to do, but they started doing it somewhere in mid. So, a lot of Champions League expectation game, they finish faster, especially the group phase. So, for me, it doesn't give me any surprise. But in fact, I think for me, it was just no difference. Everything is, I think a lot of December, mostly is a holiday season. So, easier for us to manage our schedule compared to previous years of June.
It was a nice Christmas present lah.
Even in terms of timing, I think it wasn't too bad for us in this part of the world. We managed to catch at least 2-3 games in a night without losing much sleep.
Yeah, correct. Because Southeast Asia, we are like 4 hours. They are 4 hours behind, right? So not too much of those 3 a.m., 4 a.m. games.
Correct. Not too many of that.
Yeah,
So let's get to the tournament proper now.
Yeah, man.
At the group stage, any team besides Argentina that captured your attention and made the group stage at least special? Now that my memory has been awakened, I have a few.
I think when it comes to the group stage, the cherry on the icing is Japan.
Yeah.
Without a question. If you think about all the other teams topping the group, progressing, it's kind of expected, but not Japan. And the interesting part is that because at that point of time, I was working for a Japanese insurance firm.
Yeah.
And in one of the days, a few months before the World Cup, they wanted to organize some kind of short session after office hour to learn about Japanese culture. So the Japanese bosses did this initiative. And during the Q&A session, surprisingly, for a lot of people there, I raised my hand and asked, what are your expectation of Japan in this World Cup? And everybody was looking at me like, what? What is the guy asking? What is the guy asking? You know, even the Japanese bosses were a bit taken the back seat, like, wow, he's asking about our Japanese team at the World Cup. Of course, in general, they support their national team. They hope their national team can do well. But looking at the circumstances in a group with not one but two former world champions, on paper, the odds were stacked against them extremely. Like there's no chance at all that you will see Japan getting ahead of Spain and Germany. But look what happened. And that performance for them in that group stage to me is a testimony that maybe we need to stop looking at Japan from the perspective because they are an Asian country and therefore they are a minnow. We have to give them the respect as if they are one of the favorites. If you don't want to consider them the favorites to win the World Cup, but you need to give them the respect as if they are the favorites to win the World Cup.
Yeah, true. I think Japan really came to the fore in this World Cup.
I think, coming back to Asia, Korea did well to get out of the group, but I would have to say, Australia to get 2 wins in a group where consists of, France, Tunisia, and Denmark. And it's not easy. And in fact, the game against France, they took the lead. Of course, then they lost that game 4-1 and after losing your first game 4-1 and then coming, having to play Tunisia and Denmark after that. And they had a very stout defense and they actually won both those games 1-0 and then, to make it to the second round. So Australia was a team that really, I would say, impressed as well to come up with 6 points from that group. Yeah.
I think for me, basically, as I want to say Korea, but since I didn't take it, I think another thing surprising was Morocco.
Yeah.
I think they also topped the group in a very tough group with Croatia and Belgium. So I think at that time, I think they were good, but nobody knew that they were that good.
Yeah.
Surprising to be top of the group in the especially Croatia was at the 2018 World Cup finalists. So it's, I think, a very good startup for Morocco to top the group for once underdogs are coming up.
For the record, Australia is the first time actually winning back-to-back games at the World Cup, and they were the last team to qualify because they had the intercontinental playoffs in March. One is because since the World Cup is going to be held at the end of the year, and during the COVID pandemic time, so a lot of fixtures needed to be rescheduled. Which usually, if you look at it, World Cups qualify will normally wrapped up around November the year before, and the draw will take place in December, like 6 months before the actual tournament. But because since the World Cup has already been scheduled in November, intercontinental playoff took place in March. Nobody gave Australia a chance. The expectation was Peru, but they made it. And it saved Graham Arnold's job, the same coach who currently will be managing Iraq in this coming World Cup.
And Bala mentioned about Belgium. Let's talk about big nations that faltered to deceive in this World Cup. I want to talk about Belgium, and I remember the iconic game between Belgium and Croatia. The last game, I think Belgium needed a result to go through, and Romelu Lukaku had a Lakaka performance. Open goal missing, and oh my God, that was a disaster from Belgium. It was actually the end of an era for Belgium, to be honest.
These were two World Cup semi-finalists here in the previous edition.
Yeah, correct.
This was the end of era for Belgium, and it showed. So that would be one of the teams that probably disappointed. But any other big nations that faltered?
I think you would say Germany,
yes.
right? I mean, not coming out of the group with Spain and Japan and Costa Rica, and the reason is also because of goal difference, right? Because Spain defeated Costa Rica 7-0 in their first game, and then both Spain and Germany went on to lose to Japan.
Yes.
And so and when they played each other, both drew with each other 1-1. So Germany had to really do it, against Costa Rica. But I mean, to expect to score 7 goals or more in your final game with all the pressure, it didn't happen. They won 4-2, but it was still not enough, so it just came down to that goal difference for them,
but the
damage was already done against Japan.
The Japan result was the one against Spain. That's the one the ball looked like they crossed the line, but it just
you can keep talking about it till today. Your eye will, I mean, it's optics how you look at it. I don't know what inch of that ball or that grass that actually was captured and the ball was still in play.
That's the power of technology
power.
For me, it's not a big team. For me, I think as a host nation, Qatar should have done at least get a draw. I think they lost all the game. Of course, Netherlands expected, but against Ecuador, other team, if I'm not mistaken, was Senegal. I think they should have drawn one point out of it. Overall, I think, like what Sivan said, Germany is a big surprise for 2 World Cup. I think with the team they have, at least, I think, not mistaken, the coach was currently Barcelona coach, Flick, right?
Hansi Flick.
Hansi Flick, yeah, was German coach, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he should have. I think he came to Germany after the remarkable treble.
Yeah, with Bayern.
So I think he should have done something, but unfortunately, I think the ball has a different shape.
There's another team. What about Uruguay? What do you all thought of Uruguay's performance in this World Cup?
I think the unfortunate thing about Uruguay is that they did their part to beat Ghana 2-0, but didn't expect the other side, whereby South Korea would have defeated Portugal lah. I think that was the unexpected side from that group lah.
The
And
counter-attacking goal at the
yeah,
at the very death, right?
And,
the guy from Wolves, right? Wang Chi-Chiang.
I think
Yeah,
that game only the coach decided to sub Ronaldo, right? After that, subsequently.
Fernando Santos.
yes, he substituted him on 65th minute.
After that, only I started things go haywire, downhill for Ronaldo.
But all eyes on this group was actually on the Ghana-Uruguay game, because when the draw was made in Ghana, they were really waiting for this game. This is a match they've been waiting for 12 years. They never stopped talking about it. You know, from the Ghana perspective is that we can lose to any team in the group, but this is one game we're going to have to win. But the thing is, again, Ghana were awarded a penalty, if I'm not mistaken. Again, Andrew Ayew took the penalty, and I believe it was safe.
Yeah, I mean, they waited all the while, and then in the end, they still didn't make it count. And going into the game, they also had a chance. They were not eliminated yet, that time,
Yeah.
right? They had one win, one loss, and then it's basically do or die. Basically, it was very interesting when you think about it. This group, the last game, everyone had a chance. I mean, Portugal, of course, was already, I think, crossed the line lah. They made it, but the other three still had fighting chance, and Korea made it out lah.
What's interesting about this group stage in this World Cup is that no team had maximum 9 points.
Yeah, that's true.
It never happened since USA 94.
So basically, no team have won all the group matches in the group stage.
I think most of the winners only got 7 points basically.
Interesting fun fact there.
Okay, one thing I just want to add also is, of course, there are a lot of giant killings also, right? Happened in this World Cup, and I mean, nothing beats the great. I think maybe the greatest ever giant killing in World Cup history lah. Yeah, when Saudi Arabia, of course, defeated Argentina. No one saw that coming. I mean, we could not have gone almost 20 minutes into this podcast without mentioning about Saudi Arabia, right? So let's give these guys some airtime now.
Yeah.
I mean, Saudi Arabia, what a stunner. No one saw that coming. But not just that, the way the fellas scored the goals, the way they took the game by the neck, I did not see that coming. Yeah, they played a high line, very high tempo. And what happened was, I think in the first half, the players, in a way, some of them were like idolizing Messi, right? They were like, they could not wait, get close to him and all that. But I think the coach really gave them hair dryer treatment, some Ferguson hair dryer treatment, or something happened, and during halftime it worked out. But these kind of games, guys, the Saudi Arabia game or any of these games, interesting games in the World Cup, go and listen to the Arabic commentary. And I'm telling you, that will take it to a different level. You may not understand every single word the guy is saying, but it's something.
Passion,
Yeah.
But I think Argentina first, after second half, right? I felt they've given a bit, they underestimated until the second. For my opinion, I think they slowed down the tempo a bit. I think the first time also they had 2 offside goals.
Actually, one fella did warn Argentina about this in his podcast, Sergio Aguero. Sergio Aguero, as you guys know, that he retired from football, I think in 2021, shortly after moving to Barcelona, because he had heart-related issues. So he had to cut short his career. Actually, like most ex-footballers these days, once they hang their boots, either they get hired by media companies or become pundits and all that, or, because they use their popularity and platform to start their own podcast, start their own Twitch or live streaming shows and all that. So he was one of them. And he did actually warn. He said, keep an eye on Saudi Arabia because of, especially the high line part, they can be very dangerous, and nobody was listening. So in the end, kudos to Saudi Arabia lah. Kudos. It was quite of an iconic, definitely one of the shocking results ever in World Cup history.
That was one hell of a game. I enjoyed it. Sorry about that, but yeah, I enjoyed it. Morocco. We spoke about Morocco. I think Morocco, I have a soft spot for them since World Cup 98.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful to see the run that they went on in this World Cup, being the first African nation to qualify for the semi-finals, first Arab nation as well to qualify for the semi-finals. What was your thoughts of their run to the semi-finals?
I think for the fact that Qatar being the first country from the Middle East, first Arab nation, first Muslim nation to host the World Cup, that aspect of representation needed to be seen there. And it came in the form of Morocco. And I can tell this for a fact that, their run to all the way to the semi-final was a thing that actually in many ways united the whole Arab region. It was such a symbolic feeling. It gave new meaning, life to the game of football itself. And of course, it also raises a lot of interesting questions about Morocco's football. Like, what's in the water there in Morocco that actually produced this amazing team? And this is where we found out that actually, Morocco did have this amazing advantage, is that the pool of diaspora talent that is available right in front of their doorstep. So they have a huge diaspora in countries like Netherlands, Spain, France, and all that. They can tap into this amazing pool of talent and take advantage out of it. And that's what we've seen in that World Cup. And it's also interesting for the fact that, that their run to the semi-final, they also had a local coach. It wasn't a foreign coach, a local coach who managed to blend all these aspects of this team together.
And
Yeah.
I believe there was also another element where they were actually building the team from the youth itself. So there was some development going on in the years prior to this.
The Moroccan king spent quite a lot of money on academy as well. So they actually have a best of both worlds. The talent from their local football pool of talent and the talent from their diaspora. And bear in mind, when it comes to these diaspora players, because even though their upbringing is in Europe, they grew up in Europe in a different environment, but because they come from a very conservative family background, that Moroccan spirit in them, that Moroccan culture, heritage in them is very, very strong. Hakim Ziyech, okay, he grew up in the Netherlands. He was one of the highly prospect footballer in the Netherlands at that time. In fact, the Netherlands team were hoping that he would, they were hoping to call him up very soon to the national team, but he committed his allegiance to Morocco. And Marco van Basten was very critical of it. What was he thinking of choosing Morocco over the Netherlands? But guess what? In the 2018 World Cup, it was Morocco who qualified. The Netherlands were sitting at home watching from their television set. So, he made it clear from day one that he felt at home. He knew this was a choice for him.
Morocco journey to the World Cup also, I think they beat Spain and also Portugal. One of the favorites to win also. So I think solid formations there.
If you realize, every stage they actually beating a former colonial master of them. The only thing they couldn't do is France. If they did France, perfect.
Yeah, actually,
absolute payback.
good point there. And yeah, I think to just reiterate what you guys saying, I think they were very solid in terms of their defense, their tactics. A very solid line. They had a very, I would say, an awesome goalkeeper in Yasin Buno. That itself, inspired the team a lot. But just what Sivan was saying earlier. Even when I speak to some of my, colleagues from different part of the Arab world, like Tunisian and Iraqis and all these guys, they were cheering on Morocco. Like that Morocco, that unity of the Arab world was really all behind Morocco. And it would have been great, for them to just go that one more step further. Well, they're almost there, but don't underestimate. Yeah, but I think let's not let's for what they did in this World Cup, and then of course the AFCON that recently happened. Don't talk about the final. That was a debacle. What happened then? But they are going to play Brazil in the opening game of this World Cup. I don't think so. It's going to be a walk in the park for the Brazilians, put it this way, And the Morocco team now, of course, with guys like Brahim Diaz in the team as well, and as an add-on to that to this team is just amazing. Yeah.
During Morocco's run to the semi-final, a quote from a former Argentina World Cup winning manager, he made an interview sometime back in the late 90s or early 2000s. But suddenly that specific part of that interview became quite viral again because Carlos Bilardo, who won the World Cup with Argentina in 1986, sometime in the mid-70s, he actually took his club Estudiantes for invitational tournament in Morocco in the mid-70s. And he was fascinated by the country whereby their football culture, he's seeing kids playing on the street. In South America, one of the things that they always admire when it comes to a country's football is when they see kids playing on the street, it gives them a sign that there is a big future ahead. And he mentioned this during that interview. So when Morocco was going through this fantastic run, that interview became viral mainly on Argentinian and South American television. So he kind of already prophesied that this will happen one day with Morocco.
Okay. So Sivan, based on what you've said, if a South American country came to our part of the world, we must make sure the kids go out to the streets and play.
I don't know.
They will prophesize that our countries might qualify for the World Cup.
I can say that from Malaysia, lah, bro, but I don't know about in Singapore, lah, bro. If any fella in the
Singapore,
HDB, any fellas in the HDB block complain, they'll clamp on it, they'll send the kids back to the house.
okay, so let's talk about new generation of players that were emerging in this World Cup, and also tactically. That's part two of the question. Tactically, any new tactics that you notice? So let's talk about players first. Any young players that stood out, made their mark in this World Cup?
Guardiola, I think he was making a good
Oh
impression
yeah.
until
You're
Messi
right. You're right.
until Messi smashed him lah. But I think all the way, I think the good solitude on the defensive. Remember, Sivan was playing on the left side, so I think that I was impressed with him. Besides that, I think other attacking for us is normal lah. But for me, standout was him.
I think I agree with you there, Bala. He really impressed me as well in the World Cup. Unfortunately, he went to the wrong team in the English Premier League. Oh, well, what to do? Some people have make bad choices in their life. Alwin, what's your opinion on Dutch maestro Wout Workhouse? He had a fantastic tournament, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean the quarterfinals, right? You were trying to, mention exactly what he did in the quarterfinals. I mean, I think,
and a memes that will last for the rest of his life.
I think,
Yeah.
I think for workouts, if you talk about Dutch guys, you're talking about the younger generation and all that. I think the ones to, or at least the guy that stood out for the Dutch team, I would say, is Cody Gakpo.
Cody Gakpo, yeah.
Yeah. Of course, Gakpo. He had a breakout tournament as well over here. Few more names, worth mentioning. Of course, the English team at Jude Bellingham. Making his debut in the World Cup as well, and youngsters like him. I think Bukayo Saka. Saka was there as well. And I mean, let's not forget the Argentinian team, Enzo Fernandez, right? The
Enzo
winner of the
Fernandez.
best young player in the World Cup, Julian Alvarez, and French midfield dynamo Aurelien Tchouameni. I think, not sure now, been linked to Manchester United to sign. Let's see whether that happens this year. But yeah, I mean, so you see the trajectory of their part since this World Cup has been amazing, right?
Sorry, even Richardson also I think did very well, and before the Croatia
Richarlison,
game.
the
I think even the goal against South Korea was wow.
is the one lah. I tell you, he
that's a
cursed
Jogo
himself
Bonito goal
and
lah.
his nation.
Yeah.
Richarlison cursed himself and his nation with his celebration. That is the one. That is it. The gods of football were angry after seeing that, and then he got the coach to be involved in it as well. So that's blasphemy. So
No, it wasn't that. It was the cat incident during the press conference. Go and have a look at the press conference before the game against Croatia. Surprisingly, I do not know how did this cat ended up in the press conference. It was on the table.
Black cat.
Well, I can't remember what color was the cat is. And this, I think it's one of the team media personnel or something, and the Brazilian guy. I think they were interviewing Vinicius Junior. So Vinicius Junior, I think he was just ignoring the cat, just calm. But this other guy next to him took the cat and tossed it away. And ever since then, it's been going absolutely downhill for Brazil.
and Brazil as well, another disappointing tournament. Do you agree?
Yeah. Actually, we did not talk much about them.
I think they had a lot of
Hype.
positivity in the group stage, and it looked like Brazil was back, but I know it didn't look like the Brazil of old. I know somewhere along the lines they will falter, and they did. Still didn't look the part, and true enough, they faltered and they got knocked out early.
Yeah,
Actually, I wanted Brazil versus Argentina, but I think by then all of us always often overlook Croatia's team actually as well. No, I think they were quietly. I think like what Morocco did as the Africa side. I think Croatia was doing more towards on the Europe side, quietly building the team with the underdogs, that kind of thing. So I think they've proven, but yet I don't think they have enough credit for how they say. Brazil game, I think they only have 1 or 2 chances, but I think the Brazil team was strong actually. I think with the right coach and the right system. I think Neymar also was on form.
If you look at Brazil's attacking lineup for this World Cup squad, it's actually rich with players. You have Vinicius Junior, Gabriel Jesus, Martinelli. I mean, just so many. Anthony, Rafinha. I mean, you just name it. The level, the list of attackers. But I think there was one area where, for some reason, surprisingly, this used to be Brazil's bread and butter. Is the wing back. They still had to call back a 37-year-old Dani Alves to occupy that role.
They did not have that flying wing back, or at least Dani Alves was not that flying wing back that he used to be, right, during his day.
But even Neymar's goal versus Croatia was awesome.
Yep.
Yeah,
The way they played the Jogo Bonito, I think, wow.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
Brazil impressed me.
Brazil is
And
correct lah, Bala. They had their fair share of Jogo Bonito goals lah in this World Cup, and yeah.
Bala spoke about Croatia. I want to speak about their stamina. Incredible. Look at the games that they've played in a knockout stage. So let's see where they played against Japan first, won on penalties. They played
But
Brazil next.
Brazil.
They won it on penalties again. Only in the
Yeah.
semi-finals, then they got knocked out in regulation time. But two games in a row, going all the way to penalties, and it was a Croatian team. I feel that still had the old guards in there like Perisic and Modric.
Modric. Yeah.
Yeah, and you have the younger players who are emerging, Guardiola, as you mentioned. I think Brozovic was probably in there as well, but he's not really.
Brozovic, Pasalic, the
Yeah,
guy from
Pasalic.
Atalanta. Yeah. Even this World Cup, Luka Modric is still there.
Yeah.
So again another final hurrah for him. I'm not sure if Perisic is always. I mean, when you talk about Croatia in the World Cup, it's always these guys, right? Perisic on the left,
Yeah.
and always there's that number four jersey.
Yes.
And he's got that poise, he's got that posture. Yeah, but the guy is awesome, man. I don't know whether he's going to be part of this squad, but Modric, I heard, is going to be there.
The
But
fitness is fantastic. These two guys,
yeah,
Perisic and Modric.
yeah. And that Brazil game, like Bala mentioned, when Neymar scored that Jogo Bonito goal, I somehow knew that goal also came quite late, no, in extra time. I think maybe had
Yeah.
about 10 minutes or so left, but you just knew that these Croatian players are going to pull something off, lah.
Yeah, they scored even later, 117 minutes.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. Correct.
And I can't recall when was the last time Croatia won a knockout game in 90 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Just for the record.
Oh.
Because in 2018, even again in the round of 16, quarterfinals to penalty, semi-final against England went all the way to extra time. So I have no idea when was the last time they actually managed to
Wow.
win a knockout game in 90 minutes.
Actually, that's a good point. And when Ras mentioned stamina, now says something about Croatia plus and stamina lah. Maybe they just punch it lah when they played Argentina lah in the
Yeah.
in the semi-final.
I probably think so too. Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the Argentina-Holland quarterfinal rather. When I look back at the quarterfinal lineup, I remember I missed all the quarterfinals because I was in Malaysia for my cousin's wedding and didn't manage to catch any of these games, which were cracking games. What a waste. So tell me, Argentinian fans, how did that game?
Because right, when it comes to us in the Netherlands,
Yeah, you've got a storied history with the Dutch.
Yeah, it goes back a long way, and there's always a moment of tension, when these games take place, and with the beef and the history between both these countries, and the Battle of Lusail took place, with heaps of yellow cards being flashed, moment of brilliance that to me, still the pass of the World Cup, Messi's pass to Naul Molina, that pass that just sliced the defense open, and Molina coming in from the side and finishing it off. Yeah. I mean that, and again, Argentina made it hard for themselves. The tension we had to go through, guys.
To be fair to Argentina, given the fact in historical context, in that kind of circumstances, they tend to falter to the occasion. But this time, even though that the Netherlands scored such a late equalizer would have affected them psychologically, but they still could have finished the job out in extra time. I think Enzo Fernandez had a shot that hit the bar. Argentina was still pounding the Netherlands team. Netherlands team, I think they were already playing. They decided to switch off and count their blessing on the penalty.
But for me, Ade, I feel throughout historically, right, of course, we have some tradition against Dutch, but if you realize it was more on the, occasionally some moment like Diego Simeone, that kind of thing. But overall, I think both opponents were respecting each other. There wasn't like a wild celebration, that kind of thing, more like a revenge kind of thing. But I think Luis Van Gaal has totally created this unnecessary kind of thing.
I think one player was really looking forward to this game with a lot of vengeance in his heart, Angel Di Maria. It was obvious already.
So I think the Luis Van Gaal saga, I think, which affected the entire squad, in my opinion.
Again, let me put this on record. Had Argentina got knocked out of that game, Netherlands will still be my choice to win the World Cup.
Yeah, I think Bala, maybe Van Gaal was using all this as a maybe a psychological battle, but the team, this Argentina team is very different as what Sivan was mentioning compared to the team in the past. They had this resilience, this mental, this kind of confidence that normally they lack, and to concede a goal 10th minute into injury time.
Yes.
When you knew, you're almost there, right? And then you have to play another 30 minutes. You have to go through the whole process. I think overall the team also knew that even if it goes to penalties, that Dibu Martinez in goal, with his confidence and all that, it kind of gave the players this kind of
Confidence
confidence that we never seen from this Argentinian
for a
team
while.
in the past. And I think all this also stems from them, achieving a major success on the Copa America just before this happened.
Now, since you are on the topic of Argentina, let's bring you guys on a journey from you've already spoken about the defeat to Saudi. From then onwards, all the way to the final, let's speak about the journey of Argentina to the final.
Well, the thing is, once we lost to Saudi Arabia, every single game in the World Cup is a knockout game. It's a do or die game, no matter how, depending on how you look at it. And the next match was against Mexico. Mexico also, we have quite of a long history with them. And knowing the fact that, Mexico was coached by Tata Martino, was the coach, right? And in the first 45 minutes, when it was dreadful to watch, if you go back and watch that game, it was a totally different Argentina team. You kind of felt that they need to switch it up, but they came back very strong in the second half. I was actually in Penang at that time on holiday, but luckily enough, the Airbnb where we were staying, they had Astro, so I could watch the game. But it was a slight delay maybe by 20-30 seconds delayed. Right down, there's a mama shop. And suddenly, while I'm watching the game, people are cheering and celebrating. I'm asking, what the heck is going on? Oh my God, who scored? Then that magical moment for Messi happened. Oh, okay. Now I know why these guys are celebrating. But of course, for a fact that having a 1-0 lead doesn't always guarantee that, you still need to keep pushing. You need to keep adding those goals. And then they were celebrating again. And I'm thinking to myself, oh man, did Mexico equalize? No. And I saw that moment. Enzo Fernandez, that beautiful curl went in. And that gave us a little bit of breathing space. And of course, managed to get past Poland. But I think if there's one game apart from the final that really, really, really scared the heck out of us, it's the Australian team. Man, it's almost like watching Tri-Nation rugby between the Wallabies and Pumas. It was so intense. And this one, I think we need to give our hats off to Alwin and Ras, to your Manchester United maestro, Licha Martinez, for the block of the century. That last minute block. I'm not sure who's the Australian guy, but I knew for a fact if he had got that ball was going in. That block saved the day.
But I think traditionally, I think we always struggle against Australia. One way or other, it could be a close game, one goal kind of game, right? Like even during qualifying, even youth tournaments, I think Argentina lost few times to Australia.
I mean, look, this Australian team in 2022, it's a different team altogether. I think, like what I mentioned earlier, the fact that they were the last team to qualify under very tough circumstances where nobody expected them to be there, I think that gave a renewed spirit within the team, to really create a huge impression. Kudos to them because, for people in Australia, waking up in the early hours to watch the games, seeing their team run this far, I think this is one of their most successful World Cup runs.
Yeah, I mean, they really pushed it. And even, what is this, when they were down 2-0, they didn't stop coming back, and when they pulled one back with more than 10 minutes left, then okay, this is where all the fireworks will start, and those guys will start coming after us and all this. But okay, we held on, like what Sivan said, each have the block, and it was to get past this Australia team who, like we just mentioned maybe few moments ago, like getting out of their very difficult group as well, right? They were on a roll and they were coming also.
And Alwin, did you expect the semi-final to be pretty comprehensively one-sided?
No, never. And when it came to Croatia, we also had some bad results with Croatia in the past and all this, and Croatia having just of course overcame other South American juggernaut Brazil in the process. You never take Croatia lightly, but they kind of ran out of steam. You can tell already, especially when the Julian Alvarez goal, the way the way he just ran past these guys, and then of course the ball kind of fell in the right place at the right time. It is not the greatest of goals, but it's a kind of goal. When I look at it, it's like, okay, now of course as an Argentinian fan you'll take it, but it's a kind of goal like you will see someone playing in the Padang, that kind of football. It was that kind of is that the Buta kind of goal, Then you know already . And then of course,
if you notice, even the penalty that he won for Messi is the same thing, the same trajectory. He
muscle,
was running all the way, and they were trying to.
Yeah, but then I think that was Julian Alvarez's style, right? I think his style is just, he's a guy, he's just going to get at your throat and go
muscle.
straight, just muscle. In the Malay word is muscle, just muscle.
Oh, another
Yeah.
one, train. Do you remember our train?
Yeah. It's like a train,
The-
basically. Like a
the-
train.
Was he one
I
of
mean,
the
each have a
outstanding
futsal.
young players in the tournament?
Yeah, you can
Definitely,
say.
definitely. Lah.
Yeah.
For me, the result, there's only one way to put it. Lah. Because
Okay.
if you remember what happened in 2018 and what we did to them in this time around, yeah, nature is healing itself. Lah.
Now on your opponents, actually France in the final, their run to the final, what do you made of it?
Frank, I wanted England to beat France, so they have England Argentina
Yeah,
final. But,
same. I wanted England to
but
beat
also I
France and then
think,
Morocco to beat France.
but then you cannot say France still, England first can give surprise with Argentina first. So thank God we beat it.
If only Morocco made it to the final, we would have the first ever World Cup since 1930 involving no European teams.
So that's
Oh,
another interesting fact, man. So the final itself, I think one of the most exciting finals to watch, even as a neutral. Argentina against France, it's probably going to go down as one of the greatest finals. Is this the greatest final? I'm sure you'd say so.
Greatest football match ever.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Mm.
The rest of
I
you
mean-
agree, I'm sure.
Okay, then why not we ask you back this question, Ross? What do you think about this game before we dwell into it? But as a neutral, how do you feel about the final from the beginning right up to the end? Would you get any better final than this, or at least
Yeah,
if you're
I'm struggling to think of a final that is better than this. Yeah, even the ones that involved my team, it wasn't as great as this. So this was a really good final, probably the best I've seen since I've been watching the World Cup. And I would say going into the final, I was backing the Argentinians because of one guy who went on holiday with the Argentina national team, but hardly did much for them, sitting on the bench, Mr. Lautaro Martinez, and also our Lisandro Martinez as well played a big part for Argentina. So I was backing Argentina, and of course I don't like France, so only natural that I would be backing Argentina to win this. So it was great. It was a great final, and very nearly Argentina lost it, right? Randall Kolo Muani had a great chance, and what's his name? Emi Martinez made a great save at the end to block him. If not, that would be it. Curtains.
The save of the century.
If not for Martinez, I think Argentina wouldn't be successful as what we see in this last.
That save is, I think, on par with Iker Casillas' save against Ian Robben in the 2010 final.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but that one
that
at
was-
least they had time. But this was the one,
This-
two,
this-
three.
This was
This
it.
was at that
This was it.
suddenly when that ball. I mean, how do you guys feel when that ball suddenly flew and then that's it? No, you see 1-on-1 in that 123rd minute.
And also, you first got time, you go watch, right? See Messi's reaction when Kolo Muani hit the strike. Because right after that, they went counter attack, right?
Hmm.
Then immediately he recomposed himself fastly, but I think Martinez made a blunder. Like moments, I think it would be wow at both sides.
I think
Yeah,
we've
would have been
progressed very
curtains.
far ahead. Let's go back to before the final itself. What were your feelings going into the final, the hours leading to the final? I remember speaking about my moment in
Yeah.
2006. What was it for you guys? I
I-
think in the
I-
morning you guys were on a radio show, right? Or TV show.
Television.
RTM1.
Television, the whole country was watching us goofing around ourselves. I think it was like on a Thursday or Friday, I suddenly popped into my Facebook Messenger, got this message from somebody, said they were trying to reach out to me because they want to have this sort of like pre-World Cup show in TV3 near, what do you call it, Sri Pentas. So I could only reach out to the two guys that I knew the closest to the most. Alwin wasn't around, he was in Taiwan. So I reached out to Bala and our another friend, Ganesh. So, okay, everybody agreed. We knew that Sunday we're going to have to wake up early just to get there. And our expectation was, it's going to be, just a normal football show, getting fans, exchanging opinions and all that. But turns out it was totally different. There were three France fans and us three. We were asked to juggle the ball, and me wearing my Nike Air Jordan shoe, such a thick shoe. How do I have a feel of the ball? So it was such a hilarious comedy. I were to look back and see image of ourselves. You can actually check it out on YouTube.
Okay.
The whole show is there. So it's really funny, really hilarious. Then, of course, we had the sort of like a session about fans giving their perspective and opinion. Lovely day to start.
Was Rizal on the French side?
Rizal was more like a host, but of course, knowing him, he's a France supporter. But on that moment, I think he was more of he was taking a neutral stand. But he actually even many times was suggesting, the narrative of this World Cup seems to point towards Messi winning it. So he feels it's going in that way. So, but if you ask me at that point of time, knowing the fact that we are in the final, I didn't really want to put too much expectation or hope, because I always felt that in Argentina's case, reaching the final is as good as it gets. That's pretty much the theme of Argentina in our lifetime as a fan. And bear in mind, this is still a French team that deserves to be respected, because not only they are defending champion, they finally broke that mold when it comes to defending champion going to the World Cup. You know what happened? Italy in 2010, Spain in 2014, Germany in 2018.
Germany,
Yeah.
And the pool of talent that France have, even until today, let's be clear.
Yeah.
It's just mind-boggling to say.
Actually,
So,
in that sense, the French broke the spell that they started, because it
Oh,
started
yeah.
with them in 2002.
There you go.
Alvin, what was your
I
build up to the
was
final first?
unlike these guys back in Malaysia, where the World Cup is very on feverish pitch, because of course all that it is a football is it's a sport where it's loved by Malaysians, and a lot of us grew up watching football, of course, following World Cup teams and supporting the leagues, and all this. So it's a big thing, but it was not the same in Taiwan, because when in Taiwan, baseball, basketball, these are sports that are well followed. Except the younger generation now is starting to pick up football, and a lot of them have actually started to pick up. In fact, after the what happened in the 2022 World Cup, and when there was a bigger following coming out of that, so it was not. There was not a lot of things going on here, and not a lot of viewing parties and all that. But of course, as an Argentina fan, 2014, right? But as an Argentina fan, finals always the tensed up part for me. Of course, get butterfly in my stomach, and that whole thing about having that nervousness into it, because of course, two finals that I remember watching World Cup finals, were ended up in defeat, right? And 1990 and 2014. So it was something that I couldn't just wait for the time to start, because that wait itself is actually a killing thing, right? You have to wait okay, it's only 4 p.m. now, But the game, guys, started earlier. If I'm not mistaken, I think
11 p.m.
yeah, 11. So that was the wait was kind of killing. But when it all took off, it was great. But I had to watch it in Chinese commentary, because I mean but for me it didn't matter. It did not matter at all, right? Football is. I mean, I could as long as could hear the background sound, I could hear the fans cheering. Didn't matter what commentary was going on, right? It was just
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah. And was we were in touch with the guys. The guys, I mean, these guys were watching in I mean, we had video calls as well, communicating with each other from far away. I mean, hoping that I really wish I was there with them in person, because this was the moment, right?
And Bala, where did you guys watch the match?
One of the bar in somewhere in Damansara. So, like what Sivan said, to be frank, I think Argentina with European teams, especially Germany and France, they don't have a very good record. So I was expecting them to win, but also like was lah. We don't know what could happen in the final. But knowing Argentina defense versus Kylian Mbappe, so I really thought the game going to be French. But wow, just wow! Thank you, Scaloni.
Now, as the match unfolded, goals after goals, what were your emotions going through that as the goals were going in one way
For
and
me,
the other?
basically, after the 80th minute, I think I was very confident Argentina going to win. But I was Sivan was in front of me. I was keep telling to him towards the 80th minute or 75th minute, Argentina only had one substitution. So I keep telling this was something's not right. Why the French haven't substituted yet? And French first started to bring in the Real Madrid player, Tuchmani, Kamavinga coming in. Then even the main striker was the starting lineup. But I think towards the 30th minute, 40th
Oliver
minute,
Giroud was the
Oliver
striker.
Oliver Giroud. So they started pounding with the youth, and while our fellas, of course, it started well, but until 80th minute, if you realize the momentum slowly shift. So that was until now I couldn't understand why he took it so long to do substitution, especially when it's leading
Or was it
2-0.
Bala? Was it Marcus Thuram that came on?
Yeah, and I think it was
Marcus
Marcus.
Thuram.
It was Marcus Thuram who set up the second goal. He headed it back down to
Yes.
Mbappe to strike it. Yeah, but when you could have actually made, this was the World Cup where you could make 5 substitutions. Right.
So I was surprised.
Yeah.
That's why I haven't did any substitution yet. So that one was kind of shocked me. I think one of the, I would say, tactical point of view, I think that's where I think Scaloni made a mistake. For whatever reason, I think he knows best what to do. But I think the game should have won within 90 minutes, in my opinion, because Argentina had a momentum, and I think they were spot on there, except for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, you were 2-0 up, and then within 1 minute,
All square.
not before the end, but in the last 10 minutes, in a space of 1 minute, Argentina,
Yeah.
France equalized, which is amazing. That
Yeah.
just add to the excitement. So at that point, when France equalized, do you all feel like, okay, no, this is not going to be our day, and it's all going to go downhill?
Not
For
yet.
me, basically,
Not yet lah.
Not yet. Was even this.
for me, that moment, I had some touching moment whereby I think my son was crying. And I
Oh,
think Sivan was hugging the floor. I think the 90th minute, I think the floor was down and out because I think
okay.
the floor equalized. And then the floor, like extra time, I didn't have much confidence. So Sivan was hugging him. I think even that moment, I saw that, that friendship, of second generation momentum was going on through Sivan as, godfather, the kind of thing. So that one was a touching moment,
Wow, very
if I
nice.
may say. Yeah.
He's trying to regulate the emotions, Bala, right? At that time, because
Yeah.
to feel euphoria and then to suddenly get dashed in just a
Yeah.
minute, right? Knowing that you're so close to winning it, and yeah, I mean,
But I think for us, this was something normal. I think we have even Copa America, we are facing Brazil. But for my son, I think for him, it's a cultural shock. All this also happening
yeah.
on him.
But unlike okay, so if you guys felt a bit confident, I was devastated. I thought this was it, lah. We just blew it, we screwed it up, lah. Like basically because to be leading 2-0 at the time, and when that whole confidence in the first half, especially that Di Maria goal was amazing, lah. The way the way they transition right from defense to attack, and the way they cut open France, and the way the whole thing was finished, right. And then after that there was stability throughout the whole game. There was this sense of stability, control, and all that. And then just like within a snap of your finger, and then it's already it's 2-2. Yeah.
I mean, to me,
So
that goal by Angel Di Maria is probably, in my opinion, the greatest teamwork goal in a World Cup final.
yeah.
Oh,
Absolutely amazing.
the
It
Brazilians
goes.
of 1970 will have something to say about that.
Actually, I didn't want to go to Brazil in 1970, but actually, if you think about the teamwork goal, just talk about teamwork goal, transitioning from defense to attack, right? That was a very good goal. That's what Sivan mentioned. Another one worth mentioning was that Salif Diao goal, that Senegal against Denmark. If you guys remember the way Senegal, and I think this was what 2002.
2002.
Go and watch that goal, and that was also. I mean, the way how this fellow scored that goal from defense to attack is another great transition goal. Yeah.
Okay. And then in extra time, Messi give you guys the lead again.
Yes.
Now,
Before
where
that,
you-
right?
where are
I
you?
think I want to highlight also Messi's first goal. If you realize, remember Alvarez? I think remember when he missed the Atletico penalty, right? The way he kicked, he put 2 feet the ball, and then the VAR system they disallowed the goal. Right? If you realize, Messi did the same thing, but nobody has cancelled the penalty for Messi. If you realize,
You're talking about Alvarez penalty now recently that he took. That
when he
was
knocked out by Real Madrid during Champions League, I think quarterfinal or what. The
Mhm.
same kick Messi did during the first penalty, if you realize, in basically the normal game, but they never disallowed the Messi's goal. If you realize. In fact, nobody knows until the Alvarez
Conspiracy theory.
Atletico Madrid game, right? That's when they started to compare him with what Messi did during the final. So I was wondering,
So what was the issue? Was double touch, is it?
Yeah,
double touch. Yeah.
double time.
We'll take it, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll take it.
we
Of
will
course.
take it.
Back to the extra time, Messi has given you the
Yep.
lead. Now, do you feel confident, or you feel that okay, you can hang on?
No.
Even that goal, right? Of course, he didn't hit the back of the net. It was clear, but then, of course, when you look back at the replay, it did cross the line. But even that was a ten-step moment, because I mean, from where I was seeing is like, so what? Did it go in? Did it not go in? Of course, the referees watched. I think buzzed, and then it crossed the line and all that, and then the celebration start to begin again. But it was never the end, lah.
No, it was never the end. You kind of knew there's still, this is a Lord of the Rings trilogy's movie. It's not going to finish until the end. Until
But the Mbappe goal also penalty also was dubious now. The flag kick from far.
Yeah, because it
And then
wasn't
the
like
referee just simply.
because I looked at it wasn't like an intended handball. But sometimes these cases they will look at the VAR and say it's a handball. Sometimes it's not. Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah,
nowadays
and that also came quite
handballs are
late.
very Ras, very late, and
Quite late
handballs.
in the extra time, right?
Yeah,
Mbappe's
really.
equalizer.
And that was the one when the penalty was awarded. Then you can see Di Maria holding a towel and crying there. He was wondering what else, what else people need to do, to you cannot cross the line. Something. All these things are happening. Yeah, and but so handballs is very subject now, right? How do you know it's intentional, non-intentional, right?
Yeah.
Lot of question mark. if you want to talk about handball and all this.
Truth is, the first half performance from Argentina, it was just a sublime performance. Like. The fact that they managed to keep Griezmann, Giroud, Dembele practically quiet throughout the whole game, it's just unusual.
Giroud was kept quiet by the other teams as well in tournament. He
Except
didn't score a
against
single goal.
England, he scored what?
He scored a.
I think he against England, he broke the all-time goal scoring for France.
Oh, okay.
Let's check that. I thought
Yeah,
Giroud
he scored the winning goal.
Hmm.
Chumani scored the first goal, and Kane missed the penalty, right? Yeah.
I thought Giroud was the next Vivat.
Givasha.
Oh yeah, he did 78 minutes he scored. Yep. Okay. Sorry about that, Giroud and
I
Giroud's
mean,
fans.
Giroud is just a striker in the wrong era, like, basically.
That's quite true, yeah.
But I think
Okay, yeah,
France,
Bala.
their reserve squad very strong. I think the A team and the B team is equally on
Yeah.
par. Like.
Their
Young,
bench-
energetic.
Bench strength
Scary.
crazy.
True.
And even going into this World Cup, I think it's just crazy. This French
Yeah.
team are set for a few generations, lah. Looking at
Crazy,
it.
man.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that is true. So now going to the penalty shootout, now would you feel confident with, especially knowing your goalkeeper?
I'll admit that even though we had a good goalkeeper, but the question is whether will our guys put the ball in the
Convert.
net.
Yeah.
That's the part that really, I mean, to be honest, I was chewing my fingernail, and I think Bala was there. I'm like, every time when I look at these guys taking their penalty, I can say, oh my God, look at the first body language, oh my God, he's going to miss, and all that.
Messi also, yeah, correct.
Yeah. In fact, if you look at Messi's penalty, it was as scary as hell.
Yeah.
Scary as hell.
Yeah.
The way the ball went in.
Yeah, it's those kind of things that roll in, and then it's like, it is not like one of those where you just like, slam it into a corner, into the middle. It is those that you think that, oh man, that was close. Like it could have.
If
Yeah.
Hugo Lloris didn't move earlier towards the left, he would have easily saved it.
Yeah.
But the fact that his body was already positioned towards the left, in order for him to make a quick reflex on the right, a little too late already.
But for me, right, I think Lloris was the game changer. Of course, we had Debu, but I think Lloris also wasn't a very good penalty stopper, if you realize. So I think that gave me confidence. Argentina had the age. Except for Mbappe, I think Coman, the other guys, because all of them young. Compared to Argentina, I think we had an experience of big events. But Lloris was the biggest book confidence for me because knowing him from his days at Tottenham, I think he's not, kind of,
He's not a goalkeeper that will put the striker off. I mean, the penalty taker off or use
I think
those
even Mbappe,
psychological game. Yeah.
Yes, even Mbappe, I mentioned that moment, when penalty, he knows that they're going to lose because of Lloris. He doesn't have that presence compared to Debu.
Luckily, Colomoni converted his penalty, because had he missed the chance to win the game in extra time, had he not converted his penalty, that would have ended the game there itself.
Yeah. Him missing the penalty would have been disaster for him. Yeah. But it's always, I mean, I think as a fan, you'll take it anyway. But I think the icing on the cake is to always score the penalty and win the shootout rather than let the opponent miss the keeper saving it. Yeah.
Well, in that sense, I say if the penalty is safe, I think it's okay. Because it's one of your players that won it. But if like they missed and they hit the post or it went wide or went over, then it becomes a bit anticlimactic. So the big moment then finally came. The game was over. You've won the game. Finally, you've broken the duck. I think only Sivan has seen Argentina win a World Cup. Is that right?
Yeah, but that was when I was 6 years old. So, I mean, the memory is still there, but it's not as sweet as when you are a full-grown adult surrounded by friends and families. I mean, all I know is the fact that the moment Gonzalo Montiel put the ball in, the celebration started. I know the first person that came to hug me was Bala because he was just right beside me. Ganesh was there. There's a video. I mean, there's a footage on Instagram. I'm sure many would have seen it, whereby I used the audio of the Pursuit of Happiness. That last moment of the script. This part of my life is called happiness. So yeah. I mean, basically, I think Bala will know lah. We knew for a fact this is our chance lah. We never hold back lah. We never hold back. We were not. To be honest, we're not rubbing it on anybody's face, but we knew for a fact this is our chance to celebrate, and we celebrated.
Alwin, yourself, you were
So for me
connected.
was the moment. Yeah, I mean, after that, I called these guys. We had a video call and all that. After that moment, but when it happened, it was surreal. For a while, time stood still, and I just collapsed because I was on my feet. Because I was I mean, my wife was there beside me, encouraging me, supporting me, and all this. But I was watching at home. and I just collapsed on my sofa. Like I couldn't believe it. It happened. Right? It actually happened. It finally happened. And then I just started bawling. I was in tears. I could not
All age.
believe that this day would come. Being an Argentina fan, since almost, I mean,
Yes.
for the rest for my entire life, I never knew with all that pain that we had throughout all the World Cups. We had lots of tears, but tears of not joy lah. But this was
Mm.
really the tears of joy lah, really. And then it just sank in later only. But when it happened, it was not real. Yeah,
Before I wrap up the show and
yeah.
you speak about the legacy of the tournament, any other last words from you guys as Argentina fans on the victory of Argentina and what it meant to you, your family? Even in Bala's case, his family, his son was involved, Argentina fan.
Well, my wife was supporting. She's a France supporter, lah. Just for the record.
Oh, that's interesting household then, Sivan,
Yeah,
after the final.
yeah. But we're still going strong after 4 years, so no worries. I mean, I don't know lah. Now, yeah, I
Was
still
he a France fan just to be in opposition of you or
no, not really,
already a
not
fan?
really, not really. When I met her for the first time, of course she's a MU fan, and during the time her favorite player from MU was Paul Pogba. So
Oh,
I
okay.
think that's how she connected with the French team. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I still look back on that 19th of December 2022 with plenty of fondness and memories. It's a day that will never be forgotten lah. All I know is that a lot of people ask me, hey, so how Argentina going to this World Cup and all that. For me, put it this way lah, the average lifespan of a Malaysian is about 70 to 75 years. If you are lucky enough to see your club winning, in your case like Alwin, maybe in MU, if you're lucky enough to see your club winning Premier League, winning Champions League, or in Bala's case, Blackburn winning the Premier League. In my case, as a Huddersfield, seeing them competing in the Premier League, seeing Harimau Malaya lifting a trophy, we did that in 2010, seeing them qualifying for an Asian Cup, and now doing that another epic 3-3 draw against South Korea. Looks like 3-3 draw is going to be a soundtrack of our life, like, including the miracle of Istanbul. All three of us were there. So and of course, seeing Argentina winning the World Cup, I think it's been a good life lah. God has blessed us. Anything else more, I think it's just a bonus.
Yeah.
Given the context lah, where we are, seeing all these things happening at least once in a lifetime, good enough already. So what
Yeah.
happened after this, we'll see how it goes.
You go into the next tournament, like for example, if you go into this tournament not having that monkey behind your back anymore, and you know that okay, of course, go there, have fun, play good football, and let's see whether we can do it again.
Bala?
For me, basically, to be frank, I never in my lifetime thought that Argentina might win a Copa America or the kind of thing, but never ever thought they'd win the World Cup. I've seen Italy winning my second name, my friend, but I thought Argentina would never see in my life. But having said that, I think I don't know. I would just appreciate it for two players. One is Alwin. Another one, I think, Martinez. Emilio Martinez, I think, is really, no matter what Messi said and done, I think if not for him, I think Argentina wouldn't be as strong and as what you call it, charismatic and what we're facing now. I think he changed the context of the entire Argentina. Of course, he's the goalkeeper, and most of the part of fame will go to Messi and go, but I think he was the man who changed the entire Argentina's legendary. Thank you, Dibu. Thank you so much.
Special shout out to your Juventus player, Bala, Paulo Dybala, because
He's another guy, yeah.
sadly his Argentinian football career did not flourish the way it should have been. One is because he's in the Messi era, both similar players, similar role, similar numbers. But this World Cup, given the chance, he seized the moment. The penalty shootout, he scored his penalty. And if you notice, during the game, there was a moment where Mbappe looked like he was trying to get past a few defenders and almost about to score the goal. And then he came and cut off and cleared the ball out. Yeah, so
I think Dybala, right? You're talking about Dybala, for me, right? I think with Argentina, of course, Messi was his bottleneck, which I think was controlling. But with Juventus, I think he was performing very well before Cristiano came. So I think he's the fellow who was screwed by the two goats of the era, if you ask me. But overall, I think he's the best, even better than Neymar.
And before we hand it over to Ras, as always in every World Cup episode, we must highlight the Malaysian connection. The Malaysian connection here is arguably the best that's ever have. Lionel Scaloni, when he was lifting the World Cup, he was wearing that jersey from 1997. What happened in 1997, guys?
We won the Youth World Cup.
World Youth Cup champion.
World Youth Cup, Stadium Shah Alam.
Yeah, that's the Malaysian connection. for this World Cup.
We played in
Oh,
they
you're
played
right.
in
The shit.
Lakin as well, right?
They played in Lakin.
They
They
played
lost to
everywhere.
Australia. That's why Bala mentioned about them struggling against Australia. Yeah, that was the game where they lost to Australia 4-3. Yeah.
I
What a
think you're
game.
watching the game, I think, in the TV. I think.
Not just Lionel Scaloni, Walter Samuel, Pablo
Yep.
Aimar,
Aima,
yeah. So all basically the
class
coaching
of
staff,
97.
were all a
Yeah.
class of 97.
Oh, class of 97. That's something, guys. All right,
Yep.
the legacy of Qatar 2022 before we wrap up the show. Tactically, I mean, we did not mention about the tactical evolution in this tournament.
I would say tactically there wasn't anything new, unlike in 2010 where we had tiki taka, or 2014 we had gegen pressing. There wasn't anything new, but I think it's just a continuation of the fact that one is that I don't think any World Cup winning team can match what happened in 1970 lah. I don't think there's any team that can go all out attack and play all out beautiful in order to win the tournament. Pragmatism has to be a main focal point. We saw that in Deschamps' France in 2018, and we also saw a little bit of that in all the previous World Cup winners, Brazil 2002, even Italy 2006. You have to sacrifice some element of beauty in order to gain some strength in order to win a tournament. So, I'm not saying that it was boring. I'm not saying that it's negative. It's just that, there has to be the balance of play in order for any team to succeed especially in a major football tournament.
And what else you take away from this World Cup, Alwin and Bala, besides Argentina winning the World Cup? What are your memories of
For
this?
me, I think Qatar did very well as a host to start.
Yeah,
I
100%.
think they really stunned the world. I think that was awesome. And then besides that, I think tactically was very flat. Argentina, one thing, they adapted their games through the opponent. So that was something which I was kind of something different I saw, because Argentina never had a system. They were 4-4-2, 4-3. They keep changing according to the opponent they play. But I think besides the two factors, I think others was just entertaining and just the same thing, only we just had two different World Cup. I think since 26, when the World Cup won by Italy, right, we realized the style of the game is just similar. So I think some countries, like, should they have their own style coming back again, following certain type of games. I think that was my takeaway.
Yeah, breaking I would say the glass ceiling of the semi-final. Normally it's South American or European team, right? So what Morocco did was something that was great as well, to know that they are just one step, or at least nations from non-South American and non-Europeans can actually go to that height, and I believe that in this coming what happened in Qatar and this coming World Cup in next which actually starts next week, there will be another non-European. I'm predicting a non-European, non-South American semi-finalist. So let's see. I mean that'll be something very interesting, because football has changed a lot, and when these European or the South American teams steamroll all the other opponents. It's just that Qatar had, I think, that balance of now it's 48. Yeah. So
Not 48.
yeah. 48, right? So whether, I mean, the balance, right, coming back to those best third place teams qualifying, how's the quality of football going to be? Let's see, right? And a World Cup can be held in November and December successfully.
I think Qatar showed the way in many ways, like what you've mentioned about the success of the tournament, the way fans were welcome in the country and it was trouble-free. Yeah, one of the best World Cup songs as well in a long time. But depends on which one. They released a few versions of World Cup song. I would refer to the one, I can't remember the title
Rima.
of it. No, it's the one with the girls singing in it, the Arabic girls and all that, they were singing in it. That was quite catchy. I found that tune quite catchy.
Don't get me started on World Cup songs, man. I'll bring you back to France 98 Dario G again.
Yeah, it's called Light the Sky. Okay, that's the song. So, guys, all right. Thank you
Yep.
for sharing your memories. I can completely comprehend and empathize with you as you were sharing your memories. And I can really feel it like as if I was there next to you as well. Of course, these are memories you hold for a lifetime. I hope, many more such wonderful memories with your friends and family to come in the future. Maybe, Selangor finally winning something big again
Yeah,
for
guys.
the
I think it's
for the
time.
Selangor fans
I mean,
here.
I've seen KL lifting the Malaysia Cup in the JDT era, going AFC Cup final. Probably there's one thing left for you guys to see Selangor winning something lah,
Maybe-
beating JDT in the
I think
final.
After a long time, right?
JT, man.
After a long time, I think that's probably the next step, next hurdle to clear. Selangor winning something big again.
Some
Yeah.
time,
All right, guys. Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks, Ras, for
In a
Thanks,
very
Yeah, thank
weird
you,
position,
for
the host
hosting
being
us today.
guest, the host being guest, and I'm being the guest host. So that's a role reversal.
You did good. You did good. Thumbs up, man.
All right.
Yeah,
You did
man.
good.
Thank you very much,
Awesome,
boss.
Ras.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
So
Take care,
Thanks a
guys.
lot,
this
Ras.
is me, Ras, signing
Thank you
off.
so much.
Sivan, what's happening after this then? Maybe this is the part you need to tell. You need to share
Well,
with the listeners.
we will. I mean, we don't have any plans, but all I can say is that it's been a wonderful journey, lah. Looking through all this World Cup series, starting from Mexico '86. Can't imagine that we were able to complete all this just in time before the World Cup starts, lah. And it's been quite of an evolution, lah. In the way we look at the World Cup, look at football, how it progressed from one tournament to another, revisiting those sweet moments, recapping some of the interesting times, and of course sharing the personal experience, including like yourself when you did for the 2006 edition. Yeah, all these are the moments like I look back. Yeah, there were some parts we missed, but that's normal. But overall, I'd say it's been quite a successful series. I truly enjoyed what I did, and I'm sure Alwin and Bala the same. And also grateful enough to have you as a guest in some of the episodes.
I've truly enjoyed listening the episodes as well, even when I've not been the guest. So yeah, and I've completely, been a fanboy and flooded your Instagram comment section with my own memories when I've not been the guest. And yeah, it's been a wonderful journey because I really was not. I was like on the fence, not really looking forward to this World Cup, but you've got me into the mood.
Okay.
Kudos to you guys. All right,
Great,
guys.
man, Ras.
Yep. See you all again. Hopefully soon we can collaborate and keep up the good work, guys. Take
Thank you.
care
Thank you.
and bye bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Ras. Thanks, guys.